Welcome back to Oz Clipper and Scissor and Bobby's workshop. We thought we'd put this quick video together to give you guys an idea of the actual work we do behind the scenes when it comes to sharpening your shears. And it's important, I think you do know that when your equipment does arrive here, we do look after it like our own. And I think you'll see from the process I'm about to roll out for you, you will understand that what we do does take a little bit of time, and we make sure that it's coming back to you 100% ready for work again. So we hope you enjoy it. I think you might find it a little bit interesting. Well, I hope anyway. Thank you. On our standard curves, you may be able to see that ride line. It's not very distinct. It's really worn, and it's practically not even there. The same can be seen on its partner here. Not much of a ride line at all, and going down through the J curve. So we need to get these right before we start the sharpening process. The same situation here with our curved blenders. You may be able to see a slight ride line there, going down through the J curve. And also here on our cutting blade, you can see how it's all been scarred up there because of the contact with the tine blade over a period of time. J curve not in bad shape, but we'll bring them up brand new. Before we'll start, I'll just go to a quick introduction to the sharpening machine we use. Unfortunately, we cannot show it to you because it's in a process now of pre-manufacture going to the marketplace, and a good friend of mine, a very talented man, has built this machine. It's without a doubt the best machine going. In fact, we've had ladies who have been sending their Japanese shears, hairdressing shears to Japan for sharpening previously, have brought them to us, and we've used our dual profile linear machine to do the ride lines and convex edges on those shears, and they are no longer sending them to Japan. The turnover is much quicker and needless to say a fair bit cheaper. This machine is without a doubt the best in the industry. Although I can't show it to you, what you will see is the finished job it does do, and I'm sure you'll be impressed. Underneath my old work apron here, we have our dual profile linishing machine. This is the machine we use to do your shears or scissors. It does perfect edges, from a bevel edge all the way through to a perfect convex edge for high-end hairdressing shears as well. The internal ride lines on your blades are restored beautifully with this machine. Now, for various reasons, we cannot show you the machine. However, what we can do is show you the type of work it does produce. One of the first things we do is get our Sharpie and run it along the ride line areas and around the J curve of all of our blades that need the ride line work done. That way we can accurately see how much seal we're taking off, and to make sure it's evenly removed across all blades. Okay, we're back from our ride line work, and I hope you can see here the distinct line running from the J curve all the way up to the tip of the blade. It's now been fully restored. Its counterpart, I hope you can see that, completely restored all the way along here and through the J curve. Likewise with our black set all the way through there. Lovely, beautifully refined ride line, fully restored, and we're ready to go to the next stage, which is sharpening. I guess what I love about doing these quick videos is to give you guys an idea of what actually goes on behind the scenes and what you're actually paying the money for. You know, our standard bevel blades are at this stage $26, and for a standard bevel blade with ride lines like these, we're looking at $30. And if you're looking at a convex edge, which none of these are, we're at $36. But I think a lot of people don't understand the amount of time that goes into doing them properly. And I know there are a lot of sharpeners out there that do the work, but there's also a right and a wrong way to do everything, in my opinion. Yeah, forgot to add, we also do a witness line on the edge we're sharpening as well, just to ensure that the angle we're selecting on our machine matches the angle that was set when it left the factory. Now we brought the cutting edge back to the correct factory angle on this standard, and also the blender shear cutting blade. They're looking good now, ready to put back together, but there's a couple of things we need to do. Firstly, we need to demagnetise, then we need to deburr. So we'll go through that process quickly now for you. The deburring process, you need to take our time here to make sure that the steel we removed that flows over the other side of the blade is completely removed in the same angle it's been sharpened at. So we give them all nice going over with the deburr and the clean, and then we do our final buff on a leather strop before we reassemble and replace washers and do a test cut. Sharpening puts a lot of magnetism in the blades, so we need to demagnetise them before we start the clean-up process. As you can see, it all takes time, and we don't rush anything. To start with our final buff, we use a bit of 3 micron diamond spray on our pad. We've already marked up our edge where it needs to be polished or buffed, and away we go. There we go, that's just enough to buff finally the finished edge. We have 3 or 4 different sizes of strops in the workshop, and we find that this more narrow 35-40 millimetre strop is very good for curved blades because it allows the blade to go cleanly across the strop evenly. So we basically finish your shears like so, being very cautious to keep the angle exactly as the same. We not only strop the cutting edge, we go across the ride line too and keep it as flat as we can. Although we have deburred the shear, it's very important too to make sure that any excess is taken off with the strop. We use a very good quality rouge, a French rouge, which really puts a lovely finish on it. And we'll see how good these come up when we put them back together and do the test cut. Okay, we've got everything back together now, and when we put everything back together, we replace the plastic washer inside, and if there are any missing components like finger rests, the brass needs replacing or whatever, we do that for you without any charge. We do that with our compliments. You may also notice that there's some discoloration here around the pivot on this shear, and also on this shear. You see that white powdery substance there? That is a result of the wax-based scissor lube we use. We don't use oil on any of our shears because oil will attract dirt and grit within the pivot and hold it there, and it can't get away, and it's not a good thing for the wearing on the on the J curve and the pivot area of your shears. Whereas the alcohol-based wax lubricant, when you apply it on the pivot area every morning before you start, the alcohol will rinse away all of the dirt and crap in the pivot, and when it naturally dries, it leaves a wax coating on the shear, which helps with the smooth operation. And those marks you see there, that residue is actually the wax that's left on the shear, in case you were wondering that we don't clean things up. But I recommend this. It's a far superior product to anything you can get for your shears for longevity. So now time for test cutting. These is single ply tissue, and as you can remember before, they were actually folding. Now they're cutting beautifully. The tip, perfectly. I don't know if you can see that. I might hold it up, working back to front. The second test we will do, oops, that caught there, shouldn't catch it up all the way nicely. The second test we use is on a rabbit pelt, which I'll show you in a second. And with our blenders and chunkers, we use a paper towel. And as you can see, that's cutting perfectly now. No issues, oops, a little miss there. Maybe a tension issue there, but we'll go up the top here. And as you can see, cutting quite nicely. Now the next bit of test we'll use is on a bit of rabbit pelt, and as you can see here, we'll pick an area to use. I hope you can see that clearly. Cutting nicely on the tips there, not catching, pulling away nicely. It's hard to get it, there we go. Cutting nicely on the tips. So these shears are ready for work, ready to go back to work. Likewise with our blenders, we'll open them up and find a bit of pelt here, and as you can see, cutting nicely, removing that. Rabbit pelt is actually very fine, so if it's testing okay on rabbit pelt, it should be fine on most fur or hair that you're cutting and working on. So I hope you enjoyed that, and you've got a better understanding now what goes on behind the scenes when you're actually sending your equipment to us. One thing I might add, if I may, if you get an opportunity to go onto our YouTube page and subscribe to us, or more importantly, if you jump onto our Facebook page and follow us, you'll get up-to-date information like this, and quite often specials we run. We do run specials for our followers, and it may be a pair of shears that was $215, and we're running half a dozen out at $90 or $100. And they're limited stock. We don't hold a lot of stock, but the stock we do hold, we've had in our system for 6 years, and we know they will resharpen well. As I say that, these shears are a very good shear for the money. They're not ours. They're a very good shear for the money, but they are limited to how many times they can be resharpened effectively. I can guarantee you that all of our equipment is 100% salon quality and won't let you down. Particularly if it comes back to us for sharpening, we can look after it and make sure they're not going to let you down. So I hope you have a good week, and we'll catch up with you later. All the best. Bye.